76 tons. Standing in a field right now, that number means nothing. So let me make it mean something. A Boeing 737, fully loaded with passengers, luggage, and fuel, weighs about 75 tons. This animal weighed more than that, and it didn't fly. It walked, on solid ground, on four legs, breathing air, just like you. For decades, we thought we knew the answer. Argentinosaurus. Say it slowly. It rolls off the tongue like something ancient and inevitable. Discovered in the Badlands of Patagonia in 1987, it held the crown, the undisputed heaviest animal ever to walk the earth. Scientists called it the king of all terrestrial life. But kings get dethroned. And in 2023, a full reanalysis of an even more staggering creature's complete skeletal data shook the paleontology world to its core. The title has been reassigned, and the animal that now holds it is so impossibly large that scientists still cannot fully explain how it functioned. Its name is Patagotitan mayorum, and the first thing you need to hold in your mind right now: we are still fundamentally guessing at how this creature stayed alive. The bones were first pulled from the dry, wind-scoured earth of Argentina's Chubut province in 2012. Workers on a remote farm noticed something jutting from the pale rock, something enormous. What followed was one of the most significant fossil excavations in recorded history. Over 4 years, paleontologists recovered more than 220 bones from at least 6 individual animals. It wasn't a fragment. It wasn't a single limb. It was a skeleton, nearly complete. And when they laid it out across the excavation floor, the silence in that tent must have been something close to reverence. The thigh bone alone, the femur, stood taller than a fully grown adult, 8 feet of dense, fossilized bone. When researchers attempted to move one for transport, 6 people could not do it without mechanical assistance. That was a single bone from a single leg. Now here's where the story gets darker. I'll come back to something in a few moments that makes this animal even more biologically impossible. Something about the way blood moved through its body that defies everything we understand about animal physiology. Hold on to that. But first, let's talk about scale. Real scale. Not statistics, but sensation. Patagotitan lived roughly 100 million years ago, during the Late Cretaceous, in a landscape that looked nothing like Argentina today. The region was lush, humid, dense with vast ferns and towering conifers that filtered pale green light down through layers of canopy. Wide rivers carved through open floodplains, and the air was thick and warm and heavy with the smell of wet earth. Moving through that world was a creature that stretched approximately 121 feet from nose to tail tip, longer than 2 city buses parked end to end with room to spare. Its neck alone extended nearly 30 feet, swaying slowly like a living crane as it stripped foliage from treetops no other animal could reach. When it moved, the ground shook. Not metaphorically, not poetically, but literally. Each footfall generated seismic vibrations detectable hundreds of meters away. Smaller animals felt Patagotitan arriving before they ever heard it. And they would have heard it, because breathing at that scale is not quiet. The trachea, the airway, in an animal this size would have been a tube several feet long, wide enough for a child to crawl through. Every breath was slow, deliberate, massive. A single inhale could fill lungs larger than most family cars. But here is the problem that keeps scientists awake at night. Here is the biological riddle that makes Patagotitan not just the largest land animal ever identified, but one of the most mysterious organisms in Earth's entire 4 billion year history. To get blood from its heart all the way up through that 30-foot neck into its brain, Patagotitan's cardiovascular system would have needed to pump against nearly 40 feet of gravitational resistance. Think carefully about what that means. The pressure required to push blood that high in any living mammal would rupture every blood vessel in the body. In giraffes, the closest living reference point scientists have, the heart is already dramatically enlarged and blood pressure is already dangerously elevated just to service a neck 6 feet long. Now multiply that by 5. Researchers have proposed theories: multiple pumping chambers working in series, extraordinarily thick arterial walls, pressure regulating valves distributed throughout the neck like a biological relay system. None of these have been confirmed. We have no living analog. There is no creature alive today that can tell us how Patagotitan's blood reached its brain. We are, even now, with all of our scanning technology and biomechanical modeling, fundamentally guessing. And that's not a failure of science. That's a testament to how far outside the boundaries of known biology this animal truly was. The 2023 reanalysis that repositioned Patagotitan above Argentinosaurus wasn't just about raw weight. It was a comprehensive reassessment of bone density, volumetric estimates based on the near-complete skeleton, and new biomechanical modeling techniques. The result placed Patagotitan's mass at a potential 76 tons, edging past Argentinosaurus with a margin that, while not enormous in absolute terms, was scientifically decisive. For the first time in decades, the crown shifted. The largest animal to ever walk the earth had been, at least provisionally, identified. But identified does not mean understood. When you stand before the replica skeleton at the American Museum of Natural History in New York, 122 feet of reconstructed titanosaur, so vast that its neck and head extend entirely out of the fossil hall and into the adjacent corridor just to fit, something strange happens inside you. It's not just awe, it's a kind of cognitive vertigo. Your brain keeps reaching for familiar reference points, keeps trying to apply the rules of the living world to what it's seeing, and the rules keep failing. Nothing in your experience, nothing in the full span of human memory or instinct, prepared your nervous system to process an animal this large, moving freely and breathing and feeding in an open landscape. And yet it did. For millions of years, creatures like Patagotitan dominated their ecosystems. They were not evolutionary accidents. They were the apex of what terrestrial biology could achieve given the right atmospheric conditions, the right food density, the right relationship between gravity and bone. They were the answer to the question, how big can life on land actually get? The answer, it turns out, is 76 tons, at least for now. Because paleontology never stops. New bones surface every year. New species get reclassified as better data arrives. Somewhere in the exposed rock of South America, or Central Asia, or Sub-Saharan Africa, there may already be remains waiting that dwarf even Patagotitan. The largest extinct animal on land has been identified. The largest animal that ever walked this earth may not have been found yet. That's the thing about deep time. It doesn't surrender its secrets all at once. It makes you earn them, one bone at a time.